Moving to Wichita, Kansas. What can I expect? Watch this video and find out a little bit more what it's like to live here and move here. So I'm Ben Meyer. I'm a local realtor here in Wichita. And the first thing I want to go over, there's 5 things I'm going to go over. The first one I want to go over is the lifestyle. What's the lifestyle like? Honestly, it's pretty easygoing, pretty slow paced. It's very like hyper local is what I have. I wrote down a few words to kind of go over to explain it. It's very like craft, vintage, unique, kind of got a old Western feel from when we used to be a cow town. We actually literally have a place called Cowtown Museum where you can go do like cowboys and Indians and baseball and live gun shows. They got a blacksmith. It's pretty cool when it comes to that. I'd also say we're pretty like, rustic and classic. You can find a lot of old reclaimed barnwood, old farmhouse style things, or fixed up like modern farmhouses, how a lot of people do their houses. So there's a lot of like classic vintage feel to Wichita, which is what I feel is very unique. We're started as a cattle town way back in the day based on the Arkansas River, when boats were the main source of transportation for most things. And we have a keeper of the plains right at the fork of our river, which is a pretty cool like landmark with everything. But now recently, number 2 that I was going to get into is like jobs and careers. Now recently our economy is what I'd call pretty blue collar. Just give you an idea, salt of the earth, good old boy, traditional values, it's a good and a bad thing, but that's a whole nother subject for another time. But that gives you an idea of like what it's like to live here. A lot of salt of the earth, hardworking, good valued people, real strong-minded people, strong-willed people, which can also lead to a little bit why we're fairly conservative and about 5 years behind like other cities is kind of the mental mindset of a lot of people here, is that Wichita is about 5 years behind any national trend or pace, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on however you look at it. That's kind of the way it is here. So a lot of the jobs and careers are in like healthcare, manufacturing. Healthcare, because we have a lot of like older generation. There's a lot of generational families here and wealth here that stays in Wichita. A lot of people like to keep their money in Wichita, keep their families, keep a lot of local Wichita things local. We're a pretty tight-knit community that likes to keep things here and close to the chest. But we also have, and that's why healthcare is such a big deal, is because there's a lot of elderly who need to be taken care of. A lot of people, Wichita is the biggest city in Kansas. And so there's a lot of people from surrounding towns who come to Wichita for the advanced healthcare they need for their elderly. People who drive 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to get here for our advanced healthcare systems for all the local surrounding farms and rural communities and that kind of thing. But we aren't all farms. We aren't all wheat fields and farms. We do have a yellow brick road. I don't know Toto, just to give you some humor in there. We do a lot. So our economy is based on a lot of agriculture, construction, manufacturing to different degrees, whether that's aircraft or just steel or windows or anything like that. We also have a pretty large aircraft presence here with Spirit is one of the largest aircraft employers here. It used to be Boeing. Now it's Spirit, and they manufacture a lot of planes and jets and things like that. There's also like Bombardier. I think Learjet just went away, but they're one of them. Trying to think of some other ones. Yingling Aviation, several different aircraft industries or companies here in that industry in town. We also have some pretty large employers with Cargill, who has to deal with a lot of beef products, soy products, farming products, that kind of thing on a very large scale, not just here in Wichita, but across the entire nation, but they're based out of Wichita here. We also have Koch Industries, which is in several different industries. I can't remember how many companies they have. Koch's the parent company, but they have probably 12 to 15 companies underneath that umbrella. One of them being like Georgia Pacific, who does a lot of like toilet paper, which is in high demand right now. A lot of OSB lumber products, which is also in high demand right now. And several other different industrial type of ventures they do over here. It's I think it is the world's largest privately held company here in Wichita. So there's actually a pretty good amount of opportunity here for jobs and careers in Wichita, Kansas. It's a little big town, and it's got kind of that small town feel, but it's also got the big city vibe with jobs, careers, things to do, establishment, development. We're the biggest city in Kansas. So I know that's not necessarily saying a whole lot, but it is saying we're the biggest in Kansas. There's also an opportunity that not a lot of people know about for freight brokering. And Wichita, Kansas is one of the best places to do freight brokering. I think on average, a freight broker makes about $92,000 a year here, which that's nothing to shake a stick at. Most of the situations are full-time, like full commission, full-time job situations. You could start your own type of thing, but it is a very good place to do freight brokering across the entire nation just because we're centrally located. We have a pretty good feel for everything. We typically work well with shippers and also truck drivers. So freight brokering is a pretty good opportunity here in Wichita. And a lot of that has to do with because of our cost of living isn't super high. I guess I can just get in that right now. The housing market considerations, that'd be number 3, is our average price point around here is about $147,000. So, depending on your loan product, the way you do things, that's going to be about $1,000 a month for, like a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet house. Just giving you super broad strokes here to give you an idea. But that type of house around here is about $147,000. Now you could get fancier, nicer houses for like $200,000 to $250,000, and those would be like a 4-bed, 3-bath. But you can get a lot of house for not a lot of money, but still have a pretty good job. And that's one of the best things about Wichita, about moving to Wichita, is that our houses aren't super expensive compared to the rest of the nation, but we do have good jobs, good careers. As long as you're willing to work hard, to be honest with you, that's the thing. No matter what you do, is you got to be able to work hard. We have, I think, as a city and a state, we have one of the hardest work ethics, strongest work ethics in the nation. So that's one thing I'm very proud of, to be called the Wichitan, is our work ethic that goes with everything. Because that's one thing we really need right now, is we need construction laborers. So if you do construction, if you're in any of those skilled trades, we need help to build houses faster, because there's more and more people that want to buy houses here, but they can't buy them, so they end up having to build them. So even first-time home buyers buying houses at like $205,000. To give you an example, like a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot house, 3-car garage, pretty decent lot. We're building those for about $200,000. And we just can't build them fast enough, put them up fast enough, and we need construction labor help. So if you do construction at all, come live in Wichita, not only because of the demand for your skills, but also because of what you can get in the house for what you make for doing it. We really need your help as a construction laborer. If you don't get anything else from this video, that one right there is a big one. So that's the housing market. So if you are looking at moving to Wichita, there's several moving companies that could help you get there. The one I'd personally recommend is Get a Move On, is their name. They do both local moving, and they also do national across the road van style moving too. So that's the one that I'd recommend. There's also several storage facilities around town if you need to store things locally. I've seen a lot of people using like the pods, where they just get a pod dropped off their house, fill up the pod, they pick up the pod and deliver it to wherever your next one is. So there's several options there, but Get a Move On, I'd say, is kind of your one-stop shop for that. They have their own storage facility. They don't have pods, but you could always arrange something, or they could make something work out for you. They're who I would personally endorse and recommend for moving to Wichita. So that'd be number 4, moving companies, storage, and pods. The other thing to take into account is kind of the price or the process of buying a house here. It's about 30 to 45 days. Some people will do an early possession for moving in early type of thing, or like what I've been helping a lot of people do from a relocation standpoint is we'll do video tours like this, where I'll go scrutinize the house, really fully evaluate it. We'll go do a video tour in person to give you an idea of it, and we can even go under contract on it without you and I meeting in person. We could do it over a video, and also we can write the contract and buy the house, without you physically seeing it, and then you can make a trip in here. Like we've seen a lot of builders being very flexible in that situation. A lot of relocation people, whether they're like military and can't leave base, or they got a house or they got a job there, but they can't move to Wichita, until they have a job secured and a house secured. you know, that's where I can really be a resource for you to do all that. But in the event, let's say like you get a job here, but you sell your house, there are a few short-term rental options. There aren't a lot of short-term rental options here, to be quite frank with you. Extended Stay America is one. They're about $55 a night, and it's kind of like a glorified hotel room essentially. But they're a better rate, better situation for if you need somewhere to stay for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month while you move to Wichita, get settled in, temporary housing. Because any other place, most places are going to want like a year-long lease for everything. And, you know, you're not going to want to pay a year-long lease for your rental and the house that you're buying. You need something short-term. There's also some apartment complexes out west that do some like 6-month leases. So whether you're building a house out here or just need some time to live in the area to get to know it before, but you don't want to rent for an entire year, you can always rent for like 6 months in one of these apartments. And they're nice apartments, you know, where you can have like a 1-car garage, 2-car garage, 2-bed, 2-bath, you know, 1,000 square foot facility with pools and everything else. And there's several people that are doing this. So it's not like you're going to be alone. It's a very good, you know, 6-month housing situation. So there are some short-term rental options around here. There aren't a lot though. So when it comes to planning out your move to Wichita and being strategic about not being stressed about this and putting the best situation possible, I hope these 5 tips and advice have helped you to get an idea of what it's like in Wichita, moving to Wichita. If you need an advocate and a personal consultant for everything, obviously I'd love to help you, but hopefully this has helped you learn a little bit more what to expect when you move to Wichita, Kansas. Appreciate you watching. If you would, please like, comment, and subscribe to this content. That way you can see more of it, get to know everything. And also I got a few other Wichita, Kansas videos to give you more of an idea of what it's like out here and just the home buying, home selling process in general. Feel free to go look at the rest of my YouTube videos on here and check them all out. See you later.